Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Luigi's Mansion. This is
And welcome back to October. I almost said Oregon because I thought.
welcome back to Oregon.
Welcome to Oregon. Now please leave.
Yes, welcome back to October, actually. With every passing week, we're getting one step closer to Halloween. I imagine by this point in the season, people are starting to see decorations pop up on people's houses.
Hey, it's September right now, and they're selling Halloween candy.
I know.
Already.
I'm trying to paint a picture here. I'm trying to visualize Halloween as I cannot yet see it from my vantage point in history. It's still barely
I really wish you would say
September.
that a little bit more like forcefully, like I am trying to paint a picture here.
I'm trying
with
to
my
paint a
words.
picture with my words. Oh, what I'm doing right now, by the way, before I forget to mention, is that the water element item lets you water plants, and almost every plant in the game gives you treasure if you water it. So I'm currently
Most of them will give you something pretty good. Some of the smaller ones, usually give you like gold bars or whatever you see on your screen there. But many of them will give you the bigger things that really give you a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Also,
like the
there's a gold bar and
gemstones.
that thing you passed it. No.
Oh no! I guess it's not really a spoiler to say that I don't find everything.
Well, no, you did find it before. It just did. Yeah.
Oh,
I think I was saying earlier in the recordings, at one point in time, I was going for the maximum amount of money I could. I never actually finished it because I had to go to college. And I remember a lot of the different areas because I'd just save, go through the entire mansion, and then save again, respawn, go through the entire mansion. Unfortunately, the plants you can only get once. So there's a limited number of rubies, sapphires, diamonds, all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
But as far as I know, gold bars, coins, and dollar bills, you actually get an unlimited amount of them. Like there's technically there's a cap. I just don't know what that cap is. According to the wiki, wiki, how do you pronounce that?
Wiki, I think.
Okay.
Pronounced like it's spelled.
According to the wiki, the maximum count for coins is 15 or 1,536. The maximum for bills is 1,260. That's in one run, so I'm not sure if that means whatever.
All right, so from here on out, we are entering.
I always thought the door was going to explode.
Yeah.
Like, bam!
One of the brief moments in the game when we get to go outside.
Apparently, those little flying things are fish, by the way. They're
Are they?
flying fish.
They don't look like fish.
Yeah, they really don't.
Oh, so as I was saying a moment ago, by this point in time, by the time of this episode's release, a lot of people will have started decorating their houses for Halloween. And
Technically, I've already started decorating for Halloween. It's basically buying a lot of alcohol and
that doesn't
being
count.
sad. No, I'm joking.
But
Or am I?
I don't know. I don't know actually with you. But as I was, what I was getting to is back when I was a kid, I used to really love decorating the house. And one of the things that I really like to do was to make little ghost decorations. And the way I would do it is I would take rocks and sort of wrap them around.
And I kill people.
Well, I would take them around, and then that's how I create the ghosts.
Just hang dead people.
Oh
around.
God! No, but what I would do is I would take rocks. I would take rocks, a black marker, some paper, and a string. And I would wrap the paper around the rocks and use the string to hang the sort of paper above a like from something. And I would use the marker to draw little faces on it, and then you have like little hanging ghosts.
That's pretty cool. That's kind of like what's it called? Pumpkins.
Kinda. Oh man, I'm not really good at carving, unfortunately.
But neither am I. I kind of suck at it. I have a few scars to prove that.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Do you? So, do you have any particular? Actually, while we're still on the subject of Halloween, are there any things that you like to decorate specifically, other than like jack-o'-lanterns? Did you like to really set up your place? Be spooky.
Well, so you have to kind of. Well, actually, we should probably mention this is sort of a plot point right now
Oh, yes.
because there's Mario.
Oh, there he is.
Get out of here!
Oh, God! Alright, anyway.
Now, all we need is one of those little mushrooms.
Oh, yeah, we can just climb through the
Skip
wall.
everything.
I never thought of that. You just get a little marshmallow, crawl through that thing, and then you're done.
But anyway, so you have to understand my house is kind of in a strange spot. I live at the end of a street right before a graveyard. So no one comes here on Halloween.
It's true, actually. You live right next to a graveyard for real.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice. I like the graveyard. I kind of grew up next to it, so I don't think it's creepy. I think it's peaceful. Which is probably why I don't have a girlfriend, but
No, that's not true. People have very different perspectives on how to feel about death. And peaceful is a very common one, so I wouldn't say that.
yeah, but the older sections are really nice. The point being, though, is I live on a highway. I live on a highway, and I am the very last street on this. I'm the very last street. I'm the very last house on a stretch of road that's one side of it's all forest, and one side of it's a graveyard.
Now,
Near, and there's a pond that separates the two other sides. And because of that, very few kids are allowed to walk this far, because it's basically the middle of nowhere as far as families are concerned.
so you're like sandwiched right between a highway and a graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do get people every once in a while, but it's usually very few, and we usually just kind of shove the bowl at them, and it's like, take it all. But especially since my parents are now diabetic, so or my mother is at least, so she can't eat any of it. So she's like, we gotta get rid of it, or we gotta give it to you because Dad will eat it. But yeah, it's so we used to decorate a lot. And over the years, we realized there's not really many people coming, especially as the kids around us, like our neighbors and stuff, as they grew up and stopped doing the trick-or-treating stuff, really very few people came. Sometimes, a few years we get no people. Some years we got a maximum like 3. I remember there's this one kid in a gorilla costume that came super late, and we just gave him like 4 bags of candy.
Oh, that kid, that must have like been awesome. And his parents must have been horrified.
There, like, what if you died?
Oh, God. Oh, by the way, welcome to the rec room. This room is also optional.
Why are there swords on the wall in the friggin' gym?
Because it's the rec room.
You wreck shit in here?
Yes! It's
Okay.
It's the destroy things room. This guy is destroying his,
Abs.
abs. Or destroying things with his abs, perhaps. But if you're a more traditional...
The first time I entered the...
Sorry.
What's this?
Apparently
Luigi does not know what a cycle is.
I think what that is, it's detecting a boo.
Ah.
Yeah.
It's me, Mario.
But because the room isn't lit yet,
Mario.
you can't see it.
So one of the things about this room is the first time I walked in it, I thought it was a meat locker.
Oh, God! You thought those
I
were
don't really
slabs of
have to
meat?
Yeah, I thought there were slabs of meat and this guy just lifting weights in the middle of it. I was really confused.
God!
It's like, this is a weird room.
That sounds like a
I know it
surrealist
even, like,
nightmare!
basically tells you it's the rec room, but it's not the point.
That sounds like a surrealist nightmare. I missed.
There have been games that... You know what game was not a horror game, but did do horror pretty well?
What?
Psychonauts.
Oh, damn! Psychonauts!
Goddamn
Oh,
meat circus.
damn it. I think I screwed this up. Oh, wait, never mind. Damn it. Okay, that's another silver, I think. That might even be a bronze. But, yeah, Halloween. Where I live right now, there aren't really any trick-or-treaters. Like, they all... Apparently, I live in a kind of a small neighborhood, and all the trick-or-treaters come at once.
You essentially live at the top of a hill, but in, like, a secluded little area. It's sort of like the last house. You're kind of in the same situation as me, where you're the last house on a strip that no one really goes down.
Yeah, which is awful always, because when I was a kid and I used to live at this place, the ice cream truck never came here either. So I would always hear the ice cream truck running.
I don't think I've ever seen an ice cream truck other than being able to hear one. Because as I said, I live on a highway, so it never stops around here.
And I live so far away from everything that I wouldn't see anything like that. And unfortunately, the same applies for trick-or-treaters. But when I was younger, back in the day, I used to live in an apartment complex. And that place was full of trick-or-treaters, actually. Oh, you know what I really miss?
The little island things?
Oh, those were cool too, but that's not what I was going to go with. There was an old administration that used to own the apartment complex, and before they were bought out by a newer, lamer administration. But they used to hold Halloween parties every year at the main building.
Yeah, your apartment place is pretty cool.
It was so cool. I miss those Halloween parties. It was like a little clubhouse area where a bunch of like kids could go and congregate, and they had like Halloween carving contests and like best costume contests. It was kind of awesome, and we don't do that anymore.
That heart just like totally disappeared.
Yeah, hearts do that sometimes. But yeah, I really miss. There's something inherently fun about a costume contest, or like a creativity contest, or like a spooky, or like.
That's why we go to Anime Boston.
Yeah, well, I like the spookiness aspect of it too. And I don't really see.
Could you imagine if they did like an Anime Boston for Halloween, just a Halloween Boston?
Oh, you know, I bet there is something like that.
Probably. It's probably filled with a lot of really scantily clad costumes, and it'd be awesome.
Oh man. If we weren't quite a ways... Oh, hey, look! A treasure mouse.
That was weird.
There are 4 locations, I think, in the game where gold mice will spawn with a 20% chance. The hallway is one of them. This room is another.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought there was cheese in here.
There is cheese in here. But you can also spawn a ghost in here, too. Also, you can turn upside down in this room for some reason. By standing on the correct pad.
I'm pretty sure someone was just like, how do we get him on the ceiling? How do we get him onto the tables? He can't jump. Fuck.
I mean, we could put the treasure chest somewhere off the table, but that wouldn't be as fun.
These switch pads will come into play a little bit later, too. But they're not really a main point of the game.
No, they have in one other room in the game, and they don't really serve a purpose in there either. But yeah, Halloween is nostalgic for me because it also reminds me of old friends. Like I used to live in that apartment complex I used to live in. There were a lot of friends that I knew and hung out with that I haven't seen in like 10 years, and Halloween also kind of reminds me of them. I don't know. The point is, it's fun.
Unfortunately, because I live I live in a college town now, essentially. Halloween is basically, let's go to a bar and die.
Let's become one with the spookiness. Let us assimilate ourselves into the ghosts. That reminds me of, actually, do you have any Halloween-related stories? Any spooky tales from your life related to Halloween that you'd like to share?
I'm sure I do, but I can't think of any right now.
There was one that comes to mind from my life. Back when I was like 6, we'd only just recently moved into my current, like into the house I currently live in, before the apartment complex.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
I think I was there at some point because we've known each other for quite a long time.
We've known each other, I think, since the 1st grade.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool too. What the story I was getting at was back when I was like 6 or something years old, my mom, for whatever reason, decided to introduce the idea of whimsy into my life. So it was
what?
Whimsy into my life. She
What is
wanted.
that?
Well, I'll get into that. So, you know how people believe, like when you're really young, you believe in like Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and all that?
You mean they're not real? Yeah.
Oh God. There's actually a family tradition at my house. Um, it was something my grandmother invented in order to help keep like children from getting too loud or too rowdy. She created a family myth, and I think she actually got it from her grandmother, that you don't want to be too loud in the house because she claimed that there was someone living in the attic that we couldn't see.
Therapy.
So like our family has like its own like spooky myth, and she would call up the lady in the attic. And I'm not joking about this either. This is something that's been in my family for a long time. So, in order to keep people from being too loud, she's like, "Don't be too loud. You're going to upset the lady in the attic, and she'll come down and yell at us." Of course, I live in a one-family house, and nobody lives in our attic. But I used to think
you can see.
But I used to think that there was. And one Halloween, my mom decided that it would be a good idea to help reinforce the myth. So one Halloween, my mom decided that it would be a good idea to put herself in a dark cloak on Halloween night and start running around the outside of the house looking through the windows. And my grandmother would be like, "Oh, that's the lady in the attic. She's gone out for a little moment." And she scared the crap out of my little brother.
That is generally awesome and kind of mean.
It was incredibly mean. Like my mom thought it would be like a cool little thing to do to help be like, you know how like some parents dress up as Santa Claus for Christmas.
Your
Like
mother apparently dresses up like a dead person. And
well, we don't even know if this lady
stalks
was.
the house.
We didn't even know if she was supposed to be dead or not. All I knew was that the lady in the attic was just something that lived up in the attic, and you're not supposed to bother her. And looking back on it, it's kind of awesome that our family has this like weird, unique myth to itself. Like, I don't know if the lady in the attic thing is actually like an old like spook tradition, or if it's something like my grandmother's grandmother just made up.
I'm gonna go with probably it's probably not as weird as you think. This looks ordinary, a little too ordinary.
If I'm not mistaken, that's actually an image of the monsters. Like an
Yeah, I was
old,
gonna say it looks like the monsters, and then there's this for some reason.
yeah, it's actually a trick portrait. So yeah, just a little insight into my history. My family enforced a myth in which there was some.
I mean, it explains so much about you.
Huh. So actually, you know what? While we're on the subject of spooky family traditions, let me pose this of whoever might be watching this. Does anyone out there have any unique myths about, like... I don't want to say cryptids, but, like, things that, like, your family or whatever specifically had? Like, any unique mythology stories? If so, let us know, because I want to know whether or not this sort of lady in the attic thing is unique to my family, or if there's something more to it.
It's not really. So, technically, my family had something that was similar, but it wasn't spooky. It was just my sister had this big dollhouse for a really long time. It was like a Playmobil dollhouse or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And me and my sister used to play together quite a lot. So we do like little stories where we do.
Oh, look, a thing.
Like, I'd play with my toys and she'd play with her toys, and we'd try to integrate them into some sort of improv story, and it was kind of fun. But the dollhouse was essentially really large and really kind of...
Not to
Wasn't
interrupt
always
for a
just-
moment, but I suspect what we're doing here is illegal.
Probably. But we used to... My mother used to pretend that there were leprechauns that lived in the house, and it was a boy and a girl, because me and my sister. And we would make them little things for arts and crafts, or leave them little like slices of cookies and stuff like that. And it was kind of just a way to be like, this is, I don't know.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah,
So-
and
so
I think
it's-
at one point in time, like we were fighting at some point, and she was saying, make up, or the leprechauns will end up leaving, and that kind of thing.
Aw.
I think parents do that a lot, where it's like there's something you can't see, you believe in it, and it's a way for you to be like, oh, I better be good because of whatever.
You know what? That's kind of interesting. Like, you always hear about the mainstream...
Oh, what is that story about? Like, there's a story that is actually referenced in Willy Wonka, and it's It's something about going into the trees and there are these monsters that eat children.
The Oompa Loompas.
Not the Oompa Loompas.
I'm being
Have you ever
haunted
seen that
by
one-
little men.
Have you ever seen that one comic where it's he says everything in this place is edible and the kid's eating Oompa Loompa?
Even I'm edible. But you shouldn't do that because that's called cannibalism and it's frowned upon.
Oh god, kids, no.
I
I don't understand this ghost. She's laser grandma.
Well, what's to understand? Laser Grandma is the laserist of all grandmothers.
That'll become clear as to what I said. In just
Yeah,
a second.
you'll see. You'll see Laser Grandma in action. It's kind of awesome.
It's kind
But
of
yeah,
stupid.
but that is sort of interesting. Like you always hear about stuff like Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny, but every so often you hear about like
my mother never specifically said like Santa isn't real. Go fuck yourself. She, me and my sister kind of just came to the conclusion that it was my parents because we just kind of figured it out. But we were always like, this is a good myth. Let's just keep it up.
it's more like you just sort of went with it, like
Yeah, and at the time, I think my mother timed it really well because by the time we figured out the leprechauns weren't real, she had already said they had to move on to someone else. So it was kind of like an imaginary friend.
so like they said that by the time they figured it out, they were more like they've moved on to another family kind of deal.
By the time we knew it was my mother, they had moved on. And we were just
Damn
kind
it.
of keeping it up because it was fun.
It's actually that's a really interesting parenting technique. Like do it to like cooperate
And
with
it's better
family.
than throwing them into a nuclear reactor and basically just saying, hey, you know what? Just,
What?
I don't know.
What family has access? No, I don't want to know.
Fallout 4.
But the point that I'm trying to make is that
If you miss with one of these, does she...
she disappears and you have to restart the room.
Laser grenade.
Yeah. But the point that I was trying to make is that
Hey there, kids. Want a piece of candy? Well, fuck you.
you never really think about like just like it didn't really occur to me just how common it might be for families to make up their own sort of mythologies in their own homes.
Well, it's kind of like how most
Damn it.
myths start. It's always... A lot of myths are done so to be able to protect against something or to be able to say, like, you know, don't go into the forest alone because you might get eaten by a giant humpalump or whatever the fuck it was called. And I think that might actually be the name of it. And it was because they didn't want their kids getting lost in the freaking woods.
Yeah.
So even though you start fearing the woods, you fear it for a good reason instead of just being something that you can't... Like, because you can't see it, you're almost more scared to go in there. Whereas, you know, oh, it's a wolf. There's no wolves around. I better go in there. Granted, that's pretty much how I play Fallout 4. There's not a death claw. I might as well go over there.
I don't know. I just find it cool that there's a really creative side to creating, like, you know, you're creating mythologies, and even if, you know, you learn that they're not really real, it introduces a sense of like whimsy in like kids.
Yeah.
It's a neat way
But
of
my family actually has a bunch of different ghost stories. They're kind of true. I mean, not true, but like my grandparents' house, which you've been in. My grandfather, still to this day, and I think I've seen it too, says that there is a woman who you can only see at the corner out of your eye in shadow, and she watches over the house to make sure everyone's okay. She's always there, but she's never been bad.
That's another thing too that a lot of ghost stories have in common. Very few of them actually feature malevolent ghosts. A lot of them are either kind of supportive ghosts or just ghosts doing their own things.
Yeah.
Like there's a relatively benevolent or benign series of mythologies that a lot of different it's folklore. It's family or rather personal folklore that a lot of people have.
Family fiction.
Yeah, family fiction, kinda.
Tina Belcher.
I just... Oh, God. What I'm trying to say is that I think...
Do you watch Bob's Burgers?
No, I don't.
You really should.
Well, I mean, I know what it is, I just don't watch it. Because I don't really have
She
to.
has something... the therapy...
Who designed this? What garbage is this?
Good God, what peasant made that?
Luigi's actually like really,
Let me
really
just go into the middle of
snooty.
this square and summon Satan. Or an evil gardener. That was one thing this mansion really needed, is gardens.
You think
I mean,
so?
I know it has the gardens, but it's like doesn't have a real garden.
Well, like not really. It doesn't really have a gardens. Like there's a backyard where a seed is growing, but I think that's it. Like a greenhouse would have been kind of neat.
Yeah. And for anyone that ever can actually visit Massachusetts or the areas around here, especially around Halloween, we were mentioning Salem earlier. Salem's really cool, and Salem is mostly the witchcraft trials and stuff like that. But it has a really big industry for old houses and museums and stuff like that. Partly because it's a tourist attraction. But there are other places around that have mansions and all that kind of stuff that are super cool, like Newport. The mansions there are just gigantic and big, and they're cool.
I remember we went there once for a, I think it was a field trip, and they had really, really neat mansions. I forget why we went to those mansions, but I remember them being awesome.
I forget why too, but I think we visited the Breakers, and the Breakers is awesome. And for those that don't know what the Newport area is, essentially it's where all the industrial revolutionists, the people that made like a crap ton of money, build their houses. And they're gigantic, like, they're modern day castles, or they were castles at the time. And
Okay,
essentially...
so I'm sorry to interrupt, but something extremely annoying just happened in the game. There's this one hallway in Luigi's Mansion where a ghost can, like, we're in area 3 of the game, but there's this one hallway where a ghost can leap between areas 3 and 1, and if it does do that, you have to go all the way back to the start of the mansion, and then go back to the parlor in order to find that ghost.
So I think we're gonna say fuck that for right now.
For right now, we'll deal with it later.
I also kind of hoped that the observatory was bigger in this game. It makes sense for the time period, but at the same time, I don't know.
No, I getcha. Like, I mean, we can probably assume that this mansion, the time period, is kind of like, late, like, 19th century. Like,
yeah, it's probably around the time of the Industrial Revolution, if a little bit.
I think a little bit later, because there's electric lights in here, so it probably would have been built around the time of Edison, or a little bit afterwards. Yeah. Like,
well, I consider Edison part of the Industrial Revolution, just like the end part of it, the Second Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, like before before the Gilded Age, before you had like planes and stuff. So like late 1800s, early 1900s.
And then this happens.
And then this happens. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to space. But it's ghost space, so it's okay. That's how we can breathe in it.
It's ghost.
Yes. This is a really cool room. I like how weird it is and out of place and atmospheric it is.
If you look at the map, you're actually off the map too.
You are. So you take a meteorite and you shoot the moon with it.
Did you get it on the first try?
Yeah, I don't know how I pulled that off. It's actually kind of hard. And then you blow up the moon!
For science! Or, you know, for whatever.
Majora would be proud.
It's a rainbow road.
It's the road when you go, when
To
you die. So ladies and gentlemen, we are nearing the end of this video. This has been a lot of fun. This whole series, actually.
Gold star, you tried.
I tried. So let's appreciate our view of the void and sign off. This is Ardwick.
And BCD.
And goodbye.